So just remind me if I miss things out, which we all know can happen with increasing regularity.
Mental brain.
Oh no, it's wild, absolutely wild. Oh, we are live! Yes! We are live! That was very high pitched. Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to the launch party event. I don't have my party poppers. Of Piss Off Perimenopause March 2005. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Right, my lovelies. Welcome to the gang. Today is a bit of a bonus day because it's not actually part and parcel of the challenge, but it's an important part of the entire week because you get to meet me. I am your host, Emma McElhinney. You get to meet Helen, who is going to be your accountability partner for the next few days. And we get to do a bit of chat and hopefully get you into the vibe for the next few days. So let me know in the chat where you're from. I like to see where I'm from. Last one, there was a high percentage of Irish ladies, which was quite interesting. I don't really know why. So it'll be just good to see where you're all from. There's normally people worldwide actually in these challenges, but most people will be UK. So let me know in the chat where you're from. And I hope to not keep you here much longer than 20 minutes. So what I'm going to be asking you to do throughout the next 5 days is I'm going to be coming live to you every single day at 10 o'clock. Well, apart from Wednesday, which will be Helen. Um, and every recording, every live is available for everybody to catch up on when they can. But I will say this, that you will get more from it attending live, which is really weird. And there is a lot of psychology behind it. So um on those lives, I will be asking you to chat with me because there's a couple of reasons for it. One, I get energy from other people, so I quite like to be chatting to people when I can. It means you get much more value from me because you can ask me anything that you want. You can even ask me about black eyeliner or mascara because it's a favorite topic of mine. So it means I get a lot more energy, and then you get more of me, you get more personalization, and it's a win-win all round. So. Let's go. Helen is here. So Helen is my head coach, and as I said, she's going to be your accountability partner for the challenge. So I'm going to ask Helen to keep me right with the chat because I get really excited and go off in tangents, and you probably don't need to know that about me just yet. Alrighty. So I've got some kind of add mini things that I want to take you through and some hormony things to take you through. And I'm going to keep it all quite fun and relaxed. One thing that you should know about me is perimenopause has a tendency to get a little bit boring, right? So it can get a bit dull, it can get a bit predictable. And some of the things, well, all the things that I'm going to teach you in this challenge are science-based, right? So they are evidence reviewed, science-based. I'm not going to be throwing supplements at you. I'm not going to be telling you any bullshit, but I'm going to do that in a way that is as real life and as normal and as fun as possible. I have got a real knack for taking the dull and the complex and making it super simple and easy to do. Right. Okay. Let's get into it. So the first thing that I want you to do is tell me in the chat where you're from. I'm just going to double check on
We've
the.
got a couple of Scottish ladies. We've
Hi,
got
Scottish ladies.
Darlington,
Hi,
Derbyshire,
Darlington. Where is
Yorkshire.
Darlington? Is Darlington North? I don't actually know where Darlington. My
My
geography.
dad used to work in Darlington when I was a little girl.
Oh.
Mm. Interesting fact, don't ask me about eyeliner and mascara like you'd ask Emma because I haven't got a clue.
Oh, I am. It's one of my and here we go, first tangent of the night. So I last year, I think it was, I got my colours done, which is a very Bridget Jones mum and mum thing to do. And the very first thing that the lady said was, no more black eyeliner, no more black mascara, no more black clothes because it really drains you. Now, I spent most of my teenage years as a goth with using talcum powder as face powder, black eyeliner. I was just like round my face, black lipstick, black cloaks, black everything. And that hadn't really left me as an adult. But anyway, I'm doing quite well to remove the black, so that's my love for the black eyeliner. And there we go, tangent number one complete. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? Now I need to share my screen with you. Share. Right. Can we see the screen? Okay. Helen, can you just confirm for me that everything is good?
Yep.
Fabulous. Okay. Now I actually do need to find that screen so I can close. Want to try and close that. I can't do that. Right. Okay. So welcome to the Piss Off Perimenopause Challenge. Now, this is positioned as a weight loss challenge because one of the primary issues that women come to me with is first and foremost is about their change in body composition from age 35 onwards, right? And it's probably one of the most noticeable things that happen during perimenopause. And it's one thing that really, really pisses us all off, right? So this is not just a weight loss challenge. I do need to be very clear about that. I actually have three specialisms and I'm qualified in three key areas. And these are the three key areas that I'm going to be taking you through today. But the goal of this challenge is I want every single one of you to stand up and say, no, I'm not accepting this shit. Now, you're going to hear a lot in social media, a lot from other menopause specialists that say, now's your time to slow down. And, some things you just can't change. And, maybe you just need to accept things, right? If you want to do that, that's all very well and good, but that's not what I stand for. So I am here to tell you that if you have things in your life that you don't like, i.e., you don't like your body, you don't like your energy levels, you don't like the fact that you keep forgetting your kid's name or forgetting the dog's name or putting your car keys in the fridge, you don't have to accept any of these things because they are changeable. And that's what I am here to do. So, a little bit about me and why I'm doing this. So one of the big reasons that I started challenges, 5-day challenges, about nearly 10 years ago. Now it wasn't perimenopause specialist then. In fact, back then, if I had suggested to a client that, you might be in perimenopause, they would have said, what? I've never heard of that before. So very luckily for me, my background is nutrition, it is movement, and it is psychology. So I have got these three components pulled together to be able to create a holistic, inverted commas, because I hate the term holistic, but basically to me, holistic is a whole person approach. And that is how we tackle what we're going to tackle this week. So I'm here, as I told you, there's not going to be any bullshit. There's not going to be any pseudoscience. There's not going to be any hive mind. This is all based in science and psychology. So you know that I am coming from a place of truth and everything I have proven time and time again. And there'll be more evidence along with that along the way. So, a little bit about me. Emma McElhinney, you don't need to try and pronounce my surname unless you're Scottish or Irish. I am in the process, I'm in a separation process just now, so I might go back to my maiden name at some point, but for now we'll go with Emma McElhinney. I'm a level 1 nutritionist, I'm a level 3 personal trainer, and I've got a postgraduate certificate in psychology and behaviour change. The reason I started off coaching after years in corporate and I wanted to escape the rat race. I wanted to get out of Greyville because every train journey I went on was grey people wearing grey clothes, going into a grey office. And I was just like, I can't do it. I cannot deal with this. So I had this romantic notion that I was going to be a personal trainer. So I became a personal trainer. And then within a year, I realized that every single one of my clients didn't need a personal trainer. They needed a nutritionist. They needed behavior change because that 1 hour of their week that they spent with me, they thought that was enough to get the results that they wanted to get. And it was actually the other 300 odd hours or whatever it is in the week that they needed the help with. So I requalified again and I became a nutritionist. And then I really decided that actually most of the work that I was doing was, yeah, it was nutrition, yeah, it was movement, but actually the problem came with how do we get people to do these things consistently and easily so they stick to it for the rest of their lives? Because every single person, in fact, you can tell me in the chat, how many diets have you been on over the years? Go on, make a stab in the dark. Tell me in the chat how many diets you've probably been on over the years. And I want to see them. I want to see the numbers, right? So go ahead. And that's what I realized that actually when we pull all of these three elements together, this is where we get change. This is where we get long-term change, because by the time you get to your late 30s, you don't need to do another diet ever again. You don't want to do another diet ever again. You don't want to be trundling into the town hall and doing the circle of shame and the scales of doom. That's not what it's about anymore. And that's why we do this. Okay. So I am the founder, the creator of the Eat, Move, Win methodology, which is my super amazing methodology. And it's trademarked, it's proven, it's guaranteed, etc., etc. I've got a podcast called Piss Off Perimenopause. A mum of Archie, he is 13. Yes, he's 13. And I am also perimenopausal as fuck. So we're all in good company. Now, I want you to tell me, I've asked you to tell me where you're from. I've asked you to tell me how many diets you're doing. I want you to tell me in the chat why you're here. So why are you here? So your goals might be around weight loss, which most probably will be because it is positioned as a weight loss challenge. So if it is weight loss, be very honest. If it's you want to get your energy levels back, if you want to get your confidence back, if you want to get moving again, just get really vulnerable and tell me in the chat why you're here. Because this is really important and you'll understand why this is important as we go through the agenda for the rest of the week. So get your chat in. The other thing I want to tell you about just now is Helen is here, right? And there's a very important reason why Helen is here, not because she is my head coach and she's your accountability partner for the week, but Helen was once where you are now. She was once sitting there going, who in fuck's name is this ginger, Scottish, excitable lady that's rambling at me, right? So I'm just going to hand you over to Helen so she can say hi, so you can get used to hearing her voice before we go any further. So hi, Helen. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I am Helen and I am head coach around here. So as Emma said, a good few years ago now, I was in the same position as you guys. Completely fed up with life, actually in a really bad place, both physically and mentally. I had been making moves to make like mindset stuff a bit better, but nothing really come together too well. And just on the challenge side of things. So I did a challenge just like you are going to be doing this week. And then at the end of the challenge, I went on to do Emma's trademark program, which is 3 months long. In that time, I'd gone from being in a bad place to at the end of it, if we're gonna talk about just statistics, if you're thinking of weight loss, my results were I lost half a stone in the challenge, and then in the 12 weeks I lost 24 pounds and 24 and a half inches as well. But what a lot of ladies say when they're at the end of the program is the weight loss is great, but it's actually just the tip of the iceberg, because all of the other stuff that you do while you're on the program, all the mindset stuff, actually ends up meaning more to you than the physicality side of it, to the weight loss and feeling more comfortable in your clothes and all that, which is absolutely brilliant and absolutely doable. But the permanent mindset changes they're just priceless. And
Yeah.
that's not what brings you in, but it's the thing that you need, and it's the thing that will carry you through the rest of your life and make you the kick-ass little old lady in the supermarket who, no, thank you, I don't need any help.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's actually for me, like what we do, we are exceptional at what we do. But I know like a lot of people come in and it's weight loss is the primary goal, and that's absolutely fine. I don't want anybody to ever think that that's not an acceptable goal, because I do see in social media a lot just now fat loss shaming. So fat shaming is a thing, and it's unacceptable. Fat loss shaming is an awful thing. I hear from people that they feel embarrassed or ashamed that they want to lose weight. They feel embarrassed or ashamed that they should be accepting their new body, which is fine if you want to. You can, like, everything that we do is our own choice, and everything that you want to achieve is your own thing. Never feel ashamed that you shouldn't want to lose weight if it's impacting you don't like it, you want to change it, you don't feel your health, whatever. But the main thing for Helen, like when Helen came in, it wasn't actually so much what Helen lost, it's what Helen gained. Now, what she didn't tell you there is that Helen was in a bad way physically and, mentally because of how her body was treating her. But Helen went on to compete very successfully and podiumed in nationwide strong women competitions. And I actually don't have Helen's before and after picture to share, and she just didn't look happy. She wasn't comfortable. She was wearing baggy clothes. She was looking frumpy. To carrying a big fucking Atlas stone is just like it's an amazing turnaround. Anyway, right.
Can I just say before we go on, a lot of people are mentioning control, wanting to
Oh,
get control back again, and control is such a key point. But I actually have a comment to make on one thing that somebody's put. So Sharon, you've put that you want the old you back. Actually, let's just create a new one. Let's create an even better one. Why the hell not? Why get the old one back when you can have a better one?
exactly right. So, and that is what I'm actually going to talk a little bit about that piece tonight, just to give you an idea of how we're going to be tackling the next few days, because it can't just be we know it can't be eat less and move more. Like we know perimenopause is like I call it the fuckery years. Apologies if anybody has children listening. And there's a reason why I call it the fuckery years because it just fries their head. And there's so many different facets to it that impact us on a day-to-day level, not just physically, not just the hot flashes and the tiredness and the brain fog, but there's so many other underlying things that really affect our mental performance and our mental conditioning. And we're going to touch on that as well. So here we go. Let's get into some hormone chat, right? So apologies in advance. Hormone chat is can be wildly dull, so I'm going to keep it super simple. Right. Okay. Why are hormones important? Right. So hormones are in our body. We all have hormones. Everybody has hormones. And hormones are responsible for maintaining balance in our body. So when we have, unless we lived in a cave with a constant light source, we wouldn't really need hormones, right? Because our external circumstances would never change. So think about hormones are responsible for balance. Homeostasis is a really wanky term for balance, right? So you will hear people going, well, hormones are responsible for homeostasis, right? It's balance. Just say balance, right? That's all you need to know. Now, when we think about all the things that happen to us, we eat food and that changes our blood sugar levels. Hormones are responsible for balance in our blood sugar levels. If you think about, like, the sun's been split in the sky here in Scotland, it's been absolutely tremendous. Still freezing though. So, say for example, you go outside and it's 38 degrees, hormones are responsible for maintaining your internal core temperature. Hormones are responsible for keeping you on an even keel. Hormones are responsible for you sleeping properly. There's so many things that hormones are responsible for, and there's so many reasons why they can go awry. So, at times like puberty or perimenopause, when our hormones start to become they change dramatically. I'm not going to say they fall off a cliff because they don't fall off a cliff. I'll show you a little graph in a minute that demonstrates this better. When our hormones start to fluctuate and change, that's why we notice so many different changes because our hormones are not in balance. Does that make sense? That's a really quick and dirty way for the measure of hormones, right? This graph here is probably one of my favorite graphs. So this is our life in hormones. Now, we are born and we then get to puberty. I don't know if anybody remembers puberty. It was a long time. I don't actually remember puberty being a thing, really. I had a few spots, and however, my mum says I was an absolute evil cow and prone to very bad mood swings. I don't recall this. Anyway, I think she's making it up. Right, then we have our fertile years, and you can see these two lines. We've got blue and orange. Orange is progesterone, blue is estrogen. And they trundle in our fertile years, they trundle along quite the thing with some monthly little dips, and that is over our fertile years. Now, when we get to perimenopause, which is approximately age 35 up, I'm going to tell you some fascinating stats in a minute. So from about age 35 onwards, these two hormones, and we have to consider testosterone as well, but for the purposes of the graph, it's just these two. You will see here that they start to fluctuate at different times. Right, so there's peaks and troughs of each hormone at different times. Now, the problem that we face in perimenopause isn't necessarily the decline of the hormones. It's the declining at different stages and the gap between estrogen and progesterone that causes most of the fuckery. So the brain fog, the poor sleep, the body composition changes, the full shebang can be down to the gap between these two hormones. Now, the other thing that you do need to know, because we're talking a lot about fat loss here, is these hormone fluctuations are not necessarily responsible for weight gain. They are, however, responsible for changes where your fat is stored. So this is a example, my example, and I'm trying to not make this about me, but it makes sense, right? So basically the minute I hit 40, I looked in the mirror and went, where the hell did that belly come from? I've never had a belly before. Even after having a baby, my belly my shape went back. I didn't have the wide waist. I didn't have the barrel belly. I didn't have that thing. All of a sudden, I've got this male middle thing going on. That's not because of the change in weight isn't to do with the hormones, but it changes where we store fat. So I had never stored fat in my belly before. I would store it in my arms. I would store it in my thighs. I'd store it in my big ass, but never really in the middle. So basically, these hormone changes change our fat distribution pattern. Now, what can cause the weight gain? And this is where you kind of have to question, like, Mother Nature, what are you doing here? Like, why are you doing this to me? From age 35 onwards, so not just perimenopause, our metabolism starts slowing down, which basically is a process called sarcopenia. Again, just a wanky term for muscle wastage. So as we get older, everybody, not just women, everybody, they start to lose muscle mass and they start to lose bone density. Now, muscle mass is important because our body uses more energy to fuel muscle than it does anything else. So if we've been using all of this energy to keep this muscle mass nice and juicy and right, and then suddenly we don't have as much muscle mass to keep juicy, those calories aren't getting used for that. So that energy then just gets stored as fat. Okay, so that's two reasons why you might notice body composition changes as you get older. Now we're here to rectify that today. So, well, this week I can't do it in a day. I'm not a magician, although you might see this coming out over the next few days. I do have a magic wand here, so you've been warned. Right, so in the UK, on average, the average UK woman notices perimenopause symptoms around the age of 43. Now, I've heard different numbers, 40, 42, 43, 44, right? But around that area is when most women will notice any perimenopause symptoms. So please put in the chat for me what your perimenopause symptoms are. Now, I do also have to caveat this with, I will use the word symptoms. Perimenopause is not an illness and it is not a disease. So it's technically not a symptom. It's an indication. It's an indicator of perimenopause. So, but symptom is easier and it makes sense. You'll know what I mean. So pop down what your biggest challenges are, because I'm going to go through them in a little bit more detail in a minute. Now,
I know what's your biggest one.
Mine.
Yours, yeah.
Oh my God, right. So the body composition changes were the first thing that I noticed. The second thing that I noticed was the brain glitchiness. So I never really felt brain fog, like fog means that you're kind of struggling through, you can't see things clearly, but I forget people's names. I leave my car keys in the fridge. I lost my car keys in B&M the other week and I couldn't find them and they were in the basket at the counter. So things like cognitive issues are mine, cognitive issues, but most people would refer to that as brain fog. So you might notice these changes age 43, 44. Full menopause is only one day of your life. Full menopause is 12 months after you've had your last period, which can be quite hard to determine if you're on HRT or if you're on any contraception or any hormones. But that is full menopause. It's 12 months after your last bleed. And in the UK, the average of that is 53, 54. Okay. Anything after that time, you're postmenopausal. So this is why what I do is important. You're going to spend half of your life in either peri or postmenopause. It's important, right? So this is why I stand tall and say, no, you get to grab this opportunity and you get to make changes and you get to be the best version that you've ever been. Amazing, right? Amazing. So, oh, and then we die, and the average age of death of a woman in the UK is 84. So there we go. Right. So I've identified there's four big bad boys of perimenopause. So when you link all these together, it makes more sense that why it can't just be fat loss, right? So on the left-hand side, at the top left, we've got mood. So we see people with heightened anxiety, low mood, sometimes depression, they lack motivation or they lack like the ability to maintain motivation or they feel overwhelmed, right? So how does that tie in with people? How does that manifest itself? So you could feel sodden miserable and you don't know why, and you get actually quite anxious because you should feel good. You should feel like you've got a great life, but you don't. So a lot of people come to me and they're like, I feel as if I should be really grateful for I got a lovely home, a lovely family, got a good job, and I just feel shit. Or the anxiety might manifest itself in a when you're walking about in the woods with your dog and you think there's a murderer behind a tree, or you think the bus is going to crash into you. These are all really common signs that happen during perimenopause around mood. In the chat, I want you to get vulnerable and tell me what's going on for you. And Helen, you can just keep shouting them out for me as well. So that's how mood manifests itself. We've got the physical changes. So we've got body composition. I've explained the two reasons why that happens. But we've also got this we've got our skin structure collapsing because we're losing the elastic and our collagen in our skin. We're facing
A lot of people are mentioning dry hair and
Mhm.
dry skin.
Cracking, like hair like straw.
Mhm.
Like I suspect mine is probably more to do with the fact of years of processing because I hate to tell you girls, the collars and cuffs do not match in this household. But yeah, like your hair, your nails, dry eyes, dry mouth,
Skin. Mm.
teeth. There's so many physical changes that happen. So it's not just, you know, getting into your size 10, 12, 14 jeans, whatever. Um, the other thing that can be a real kick in the teeth is, yeah, you've maybe gained a stone, 2 stone, 3 stone. But see, when you were in your 20s and your early 30s, you could just go out dancing for a couple of nights and you'd lose it. And now it doesn't shift, or it does shift, but it goes back on after a couple of weeks, right? The energy levels, right? So how does this turn up in real life? So you've got your tiredness, you've got your end of day exhaustion. But then you've got the not able to get a good night's sleep, or when you do go to bed, you're absolutely wired and you can't sleep, or you do wake up, or you do go to sleep really easily, but you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Or you seem to have a good sleep and then 3 o'clock comes and you're literally dead in your feet. You actually want to put your head down your desk and take a nap. These are really normal. If this is showing up for you, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
You
And
know
the
what,
fine.
on that point, Emma, I actually think that because I was diagnosed with ME, wasn't I?
Hmm.
And I actually really genuinely, I always questioned that diagnosis.
Hmm.
And I genuinely believe that I was misdiagnosed as ME when it was actually early peri because I had so many symptoms that I now know are peri symptoms that I never knew were peri symptoms before. That
Hmm.
I think that I went so far as being misdiagnosed.
Hmm. It's so common. Um, and like depending on what report you read, some reports say that there's 50 known indications of perimenopause. Other ones say there's 90. So there's so many, but I will caveat this with actually there are so many perimenopause symptoms which are actually not anything to do with hormones or to do with lifestyle. So you're going to learn a lot about that this week. So the final bit, and this is the biggie, this is the bit that really, really connects, and we're going to be talking about this quite a lot, is this identity piece that happens at midlife, right? So you've got this kind of getting to midlife. I don't like the term midlife either. Midlife and holistic, we're not going to have I cannot, the marketeer in me is like, how do I term this? Like, I don't like these two words. But we've got this realization that we are here in the middle of our life. And oh my God, I have not gone and climbed Everest. I have not done all those things that I said I was going to do when I was a little girl and the world was my oyster and I was going to do everything. We have this whole, I should be really grateful for what I've got. And I don't feel grateful. I feel disappointed. I feel unhappy. I feel like I'm average. I feel frumpy. I feel invisible. We have women that have been like really successful in their careers and they get to a point they're like, what now? Is this it? Is this it? There's a reason why the percentage of women that leave employment and start new businesses in their 40s and 50s is a higher percentage than any other decade of a woman's life. There's a reason for that, and that's it. We have women that are like now going, do you know what? Now's the time for me to thrive in my career because the kids have gone to uni or blah, 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 blah. And then they realize that they're getting overlooked for younger colleagues. And you're like, oh, shit. We have relations.
I think it's really sad that there's a proportion of our more knowledgeable 50 something ladies who should be in actually at the height of their careers,
God, yes.
who find themselves in a position where they're struggling. So we've got, they're kind of like the matriarch, they're the ones that like people should be looking up to and everything, but then they are actually struggling themselves, and we lose, I think it was 12% of the executive level female due to lack of confidence because of peri symptoms. That
Yep.
is so sad. We're
Mhm.
losing these women in industry who are powerful and knowledgeable and influential just because they are perimenopausal. It is so sad.
Yeah, it's shite. I actually do a lot of work with corporates, and I could give hundreds of stats, but you'll all fall asleep, so I'm not going to do that. But we get a lot of relationship challenges. You know, I had been married for, how long have I been married for, Helen? 14 years? Something like that. I mean, my husband split up last year. And I'm seeing this more and more women acknowledging that actually, do you know, this is not serving me anymore. I actually think you're a dick. And vice versa. Husbands looking at wives and going, I actually don't recognize you anymore. Like, so there's a whole load of complex things that are happening at this stage in our lives and that we need to tackle. It's not just a case of, oh, if I just forget about it, if I don't even think about it, it'll all go away, because it won't. And then we've got the simple fact of, you know, not even recognizing yourself, not just that I don't recognize myself in the mirror, which is usually common. It's like, who even is this person? Like, I used to be dead young and cool and vivacious and used to go out raving and drinking until 5 o'clock in the morning. And now here I am putting on a brown cardigan. Like, you know, just something like I do love it. I actually do love a cardigan and I do have a brown cardigan. And I did also used to go out raving at 5 o'clock and I'd never made that connection that, oh my God, I'm so frumpy. But anyway, these are all the things. So tell me in the chat, where do you have a particular area that you want to tackle? Do you, or is it lots of different bits in different areas? And anything is fine because your indications of perimenopause are yours and they're valid. And together we're going to deal with them over the next few days. Right. So I do have a tendency to do this, people. I'm really sorry. I do whiffle on. Right. So I've just refreshed my screen on the phone to see there was like 15 comments and now there's 47. So thank you everybody for commenting. I really appreciate it. So let's talk what we're going to be doing over the next few days. So I've got a wee freebie for you, which is going to help you navigate the challenge, and it's a free cheat sheet. So I used to do a set routine of the challenge where I would do nutrition on the Monday, fitness on the Tuesday, sleep on the Wednesday, emotions on the Thursday, mindset on the Friday, but I've changed it. Because I truly believe, hand on heart believe, that everything that I teach that always comes back to mindset. So I've changed it for you, lovely ladies. You're getting mindset first, right? But I want you to get the benefit of the nutrition things early on. So I'm going to give you a bit of a nutrition cheat sheet that you can ask. So I want you to comment in the chat, cheat. You won't get this till tomorrow because it's 7:30 on Mother's Day and I've got a glass of Merlot sitting with my name on it. But tomorrow my team will send you the cheat sheet. Okay, so the cheat sheet is just a PDF that gives you the specifics of how I want you to be eating over the next 5 days. and it'll just give you a wee bit of a head start, but we will be going into greater detail on the nutrition on Tuesday. But tomorrow, so we've got Monday mindset magic. So this is you need to know this stuff about the thoughts processes, about the things that we're telling ourselves, about our beliefs, about failures, about sabotage. So we're going to touch on that tomorrow. So this stuff comes first. Tuesday is all about the top three nutrition rules for perimenopause. And if you're here for fat loss, eat less, move more is not the answer. And I'm going to be showing you that on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be Helen. Now, I would love to tell you it's a really important reason why I can't be here on Wednesday to talk about the movement element, but it's actually because I'm getting my hair done. And my hairdresser has 0 appointments left. So I was like, okay, Helen, you're doing it. Thursday is all about self-sabotage, and I'll be showing how you can continue working with me post the challenge on Thursday. And I have a raging hard on of an offer for you, which you'll hopefully love. And on Friday, also very important, is the cortisol conundrum. You've all heard of cortisol, but what does it mean? How is it impacting you? And how, more importantly, how do you moderate it and be able to not get stressed out your box and be able to sleep better? So that's on Friday. Now, I've got a wee prize for you as well. Oh, damn it. Oh, damn it. Right. Okay. Oh, I can't, I'm not, it's in the other room. I can't even show you. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Right. So if you watch all the lives, I don't mean turn up live every time because I'm very conscious that there's no way I'm getting 200 people here at 10 o'clock every day. But if you either turn up live or watch the replay, and you have to either comment #live or #replay in the video. So if you come up and you do all the tasks, the accountability tasks every day, you are going to win, go into the prize draw to win a Team Eat Move Win Tits and Teeth t-shirt. Part of my merch. I sound like such a wanker when I say my merch. But I've got a Tits and Teeth t-shirt. So you can choose which color. You can have pink, you can have stargazer blue, you can have charcoal, or you can have off-white, right? And I'll wear it tomorrow. I'll try and remember and wear it tomorrow. I wouldn't normally wear a t-shirt on a Monday. I normally go quite like, oh, look at me, all fancy on a Monday, and then it progressively gets more casual as the week goes on. But there you go. So if you want the cheat sheet, pop the word cheat in the comments of this live. Oh, excuse me. And we will deal with that at the end of the challenge. Okay, hands up. Who is committed to doing the full 5 days of the challenge? Full 5 days. If you are, put 5 days in. What I do see happening, and you're gonna want to do this, right? You'll all do day 1. You'll all do day 2. Day 3, you'll maybe go, oh, I'll catch up with that later. I've got a meeting, and you won't catch up. And then you'll go, day 4, I've not caught up with day 3 yet. So I am calling you all today to say, I'm not actually going to call you all, but I am here today to say, do this for you. This is your challenge. This is for your results. This is for your changes. This is for you feeling better than you have done in years. So turn up for yourselves, even when it might feel hard, or even when you might feel time pressed. Turn up for you. It's hugely important. This is hugely important. Me and Helen are here for you. There is no question that is ridiculous. Well, there might be a ridiculous question, but we've yet to have one.
It's likely me that asks it though.
Yeah, probably. But honestly, like, we're in this with you. Like, we have not heard it all. We've heard a lot. We've not heard it all. I actually had to give a talk on Thursday about vaginal atrophy, right? So this is another thing. We're not even going to touch on this in the challenge, but I had to give a talk about vaginal atrophy. So there is no such thing as daft or too extreme. I promise you that. Right. Okay. Let me stop sharing the screen. I'm back with these. Okay. Right. Any questions before we go, Helen? Anything cropped up?
Nothing I haven't answered. Although who was it brought up something that nobody else has, and that was Candy's lack of tolerance. Oh
Oh
my
God,
God. Oh
that's
my
a
God,
good
I
one.
literally cannot tell you the amount of times I have had no fucks left to give. Yeah, like my tolerance levels were in floor.
Oh my God. And you know, there's several reasons for that. Yes, you've got the hormone changes. Yes, you've got the maturity changes, I suppose, as well. But sometimes you kind of look around you and you're like, who are these people and why? Like, oh, Do not care. I think it's actually quite a powerhouse skill and strength for somebody to have little tolerance because actually it shows that you're kind of valuing your own time and your own boundaries and your own energy in some respects. So actually doesn't necessarily have to be a negative, that one, does it?
No, it can feel
Yeah.
pretty good. When
Anyway.
you realize it's okay.
I know. That's good. It is good. Right. Okay. I apologize for keeping you 9 minutes. Well, actually, 19 minutes over my intended time. I do need to rein it in. But we are here for you. So tag, I would say if you are asking questions in the group, please tag us. Invite anybody you want appropriately to this challenge. I think I want to get more people in this challenge because it is so important. And so just invite people to join. We'll let people in overnight. Well, not overnight, but before tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And have an awesome night. If you're doing any Mother's Day stuff, amazing. If you've had a hard day because of Mother's Day, I feel for you and I hope you've got a nice, relaxing evening ahead of you. And I'm here to just say, let's do it. Let's do it. Anything before we go, Helen?
No, I think I've pretty much answered everybody's
Thank you.
before we go.
Right, I will see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. sharp. Have an amazing evening, my loves. Speak to you later.